Let's start with a surprising idea. Universal Basic Income, or UBI, offers economic safety and freedom, but it is being talked about in rich countries with strong welfare systems. Why is this big idea coming up now, and why is it both exciting and debated?
That's a good question, Michelle. UBI is not a new idea. Thomas Paine talked about something similar in the 18th century. History shows that similar ideas appeared during big economic changes. For instance, during the Great Depression, different income supports were needed to reduce poverty and boost the economy.
Exactly, Guy. Jump to today, and we look at UBI because of new technology. Machines and AI are changing jobs. Studies say up to 800 million jobs might go away by 2030. UBI could help with such big job losses.
Ryan, that is a strong point, but we also need to think about the money side. Some people using studies from places like Harvard and MIT say UBI might make people stop working and raise costs without fixing money problems. What if UBI only covers up problems instead of solving them?
Here's a tricky question. Could starting UBI now actually make the gap between rich and poor bigger instead of smaller? Can governments keep it going without hurting their economies? Think of a world where UBI really changes the economy, not just fixes problems. Can this change our socioeconomic structures, or does it just cover up bigger issues?
That's a key question, Michelle. In the past, big changes like the Industrial Revolution happened because they were needed. When old jobs went away, new ones came. But is UBI just a quick fix or a step to a new kind of economy?
Yes, Guy. We should also look at recent tests. In Finland's UBI test, early results show it didn't really increase jobs, but it did help people's well-being and stress. This means UBI might be more about helping society's health than directly boosting the economy.
Good point, Ryan. But people often worry that UBI might make people not want to work. If they have support without needing to work, why not leave the workforce? Harvard studies have found mixed results on this.
But Sonia, maybe the issue is not about wanting to work, but about how we fit UBI into current systems. Should we ask if UBI needs to be different for each economy and society, instead of using the same model everywhere? UBI promises financial safety for all. It sounds great, but is very debated. What if UBI changes current welfare systems and causes more problems? Can this plan make things worse instead of better?
That's a good question, Michelle. Big changes always have risks. Look at how people felt when Social Security started in the U.S. People first worried about the cost and reliance, but later accepted it because it helped many. UBI is a bigger change, especially with money. How do we pay for it without hurting the economy?
Guy, costs are very important here. UBI in the U.S. could cost more than $3 trillion each year. It depends on if we can use current welfare budgets differently or change taxes. Economist Carl Widerquist thinks a progressive tax could help, but setting it up would be new and difficult.
That's what we're worried about, Ryan. People doubt these systems. Some say high taxes for UBI could slow the economy and hurt businesses. They talk about Europe's welfare systems that used big budgets but didn't end poverty.
Here's something to think about. Will UBI change or worsen economic problems? Is UBI meant to help going to make people too dependent and increase inequality?
Think about past events again. After World War II, government actions helped the economy grow, but they were different from UBI. Does UBI need other ideas to help grow like before?
Good point, Guy. Also, the Finnish UBI test you talked about showed it helped people feel better, not just boosted the economy. Maybe UBI's true worth is in making society healthier and stronger. Should we look at long-term benefits over quick economic results?
But Ryan, what if UBI makes people too relaxed in the long run? Some early welfare data shows people sometimes try less to get better jobs. But maybe a balanced plan can change how we see work, focusing less on traditional job numbers?
So, the debate goes on. Can UBI change broken systems for real, or is it just covering up deeper problems? Here's something to think about. UBI could change how we see value and purpose beyond regular work. Some say it might lead to more creativity and new ideas. But can this freedom harm the society that sees being productive as necessary? How do we look at both sides?
Michelle, that's interesting. In the past, free time often led to big cultural and smart ideas, like the Renaissance. But work gives us identity and purpose. Even with UBI, will society see jobs done for love or duty as less important if they aren't needed?
Interesting, Guy. A University of Oxford study says job happiness is more about meaning and freedom than money alone. UBI could let people choose more satisfying roles. But is society ready for a time when a career isn't the same as personal value?
Good points, Ryan. But let's think about feelings too. A Harvard study says not everyone might like a world where regular work isn't needed. This might lead to feeling lost or lazy for some. How do we handle these mental effects when starting UBI?
It's not just personal think about society. If UBI means freedom from needing to work, what about group projects or volunteering, which often depend on work? Will people care less about helping if they don't need money anymore?
That's a tricky question, Michelle. History shows us that community bonds have often been built by shared struggles and goals, usually economic. Without them, will UBI lead to people being alone, or can it make community ties stronger thanks to new freedoms?
Guy, maybe without money worries, people will join more community activities. Think about it without stress. They might focus more on causes they care about and make stronger social connections.
True, Ryan. But remember that without money reasons, community involvement has had mixed results before. Relying on self-motivation is surprisingly tricky. Maybe the answer is a mix that supports personal growth and community help.
In the end, UBI asks if we can change society to support both personal and community growth. Or is this too perfect a dream, ignoring human nature's complexity? Let's finish by thinking about a future with UBI. Here's a puzzle. Can something meant to make things equal actually make some gaps bigger? Imagine everyone has a basic income. Does that lead to real equality, or does it create new problems?
That's an interesting question, Michelle. History shows us something. The welfare systems in the 20th century tried to reduce social gaps, but some say they made people depend and didn't stop inequality. Could UBI do the same, or will it change the story?
Guy, you're talking about a big issue here. A report says safety nets help with money stress, but don't always change long-term social and money problems. Maybe it's about how we use UBI. Could it help people grow, not just give money?
Yes, Ryan, but I have a worry. A report says that even with things like UBI, poverty's habits stay. Should UBI go with learning and social help to give full support, not just money?
That's an interesting point, Sonia. If UBI's goal is full support, should we also change our values? What if success wasn't just about how much money you have, but about well-being and helping others?
Thinking about this, history shows how values change over time. Like after wars, when countries change their economic goals, maybe UBI could change what success means today. But how long will it take, and what will it mean for society and money?
That's an important point, Guy. A report says big social changes are not quick or easy. If UBI is to really change societies, it needs a big change in how people see work and community. Are we ready for this big change?
True, Ryan, and with this change, let's think about how people will adjust. Some will do well with the freedom UBI gives, but others may find it hard without regular jobs. How do we handle these different reactions?
So we are at a turning point. Can UBI move us toward a society where creativity, teamwork, and happiness are key? Is this future real or just a dream, unless we solve basic human and social problems?